Welcome to the Logic of AI Magic, the show that strips away the hype and gets down to the hard choices. If AI is the magic, we're here to understand the logic that keeps it reliable, trusted, and running in the world's most mission-critical systems. Today's guest is Neeraj Mathur, a leading thinker in applied AI and enterprise automation. As Chief AI Officer at Cognitos, he is pioneering deterministic, auditable AI systems built for real-world business use. His career spans Goldman Sachs, UiPath, VMware, and now Cognitos, where he's shaping how neurosymbolic AI and English as code redefine automation. Neeraj is also a published author and written books like one I have here, Intelligent Automation, Bridging the Gap Between Business and the Academia. And he's a frequent industry speaker known for blending deep technical insight with practical impact. In this episode, we explore his journey, his philosophy on responsible AI, and the future of human-centered automation. Neeraj Mathur, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Vinny. I appreciate that.
So Neeraj, tell us a little bit about your recent past and especially around AI. What have you been working on?
Sure. So I actually see myself always being in an automation space. When I really started my journey in software engineering at Goldman Sachs, that was the time when the trading used to be done on paper. Right? So building software, building those processes using software was the first exposure I had on the business processes. Though it was related to investment banking, but those are really heavy processes and deep in terms of functionality. When I moved from investment banking into tech sector a few years ago, the biggest shift which I saw at that point of time is that with all the data, with all the computing power, AI started picking it up. That's when I thought that let's get into more of intelligent automation space. Back then it used to be called hyper-automation, RPA, there were different terms on that.
What rough time period? What year is
2018.
2018,
Yeah.
Okay.
So at that stage, it was very obvious that this is going to become quite big, but there are lots of challenges in that, which is exactly what I documented in the book as well, based on what the work which we have done in many different organizations and particularly at VMware as well.
I see. Is that why it says gap between business and academia? Because a lot of the work was actually in academia at that time?
The reason of this subtitle is basically the biggest difference which we felt as a co-authors there, that we are trying to hire interns, trying to hire fresh graduates, trying to hire folks who have limited industry experience. They did not even have any background of AI and automation at that point of time. So we wanted to create a text for academia, for universities to really use it on their courses, which is actually this book which they do, right? So that it really prepares the next generation of intelligent automation leaders and practitioners there.
That's actually quite forward-looking because that's precisely one of the biggest challenges these days. Like a lot of the people who are graduating from college are finding it hard to land a job. I think getting to know how businesses operate in a deeper way and how AI can help.
Correct.
So you're actually quite ahead of it.
Right, and we were really looking to provide the practitioner's view to the masters and MBA's students from that point.
Got it. Yeah. So let me ask you a question. You started off saying that you were looking at trading at a time when they used to use paper. Right? Were there hallucinations at that time?
No, not at all. There were strategies. There were different strategies which some worked, some failed miserably. Right? But it was really well calculated strategy with some proper risk.
But if I say if somebody scribbles on a piece of paper, buy 10,000 shares of this company, and somebody misreads that because handwriting was wrong, would that be termed as a mistake or a hallucination?
It would be a mistake.
It is a mistake.
And
so humans don't hallucinate, we just make mistakes.
They just make mistakes.
And AI is like, it's So why don't we say that AI makes mistakes and just why did we come up with this term hallucination that is very popular these days? What's your take on it?
My take on this is because the whole deep learning was rooted into neural networks, which is rooted into how we are trying to mimic brain works, right? The mistake is considered in a philosophical way as a tendency of human, but hallucination is really an attribute of brain, right? So that's why relating to neuro network of brain into neural networks, the term was coined as a hallucination, and as a marketing term also it picked up very well. Yeah.
Yeah, because if there was a person on the floor trading and they wrote on a piece of paper and we said, oh, that guy actually hallucinated, they'd lose their job.
Yes.
Right? But you said they made a mistake, you say, okay.
To err is a human.
To err is human.
Yeah.
So there is something about hallucination that actually we feel is a very big negative compared to an occasional mistake that humans do.
Yeah. Yeah. That's essentially because every human makes mistakes, but very few hallucinate.
Very few. I mean, of course, when we are dreaming, we are hallucinating, but we're not being paid for that.
Right. So that's why we're trying to say hallucination is a very rare capability there, but in AI, it's actually quite prominent, right? So that becomes a very interesting aspect.
So from what you're seeing in the AI space, in your work as well, how are both the technology companies reducing hallucinations, and how are the practitioners dealing with hallucination?
Yeah, guardrails. It all really depends on where you put the guardrails. I think you and I had this conversation long ago as well, is like we need to learn from what we have done as a society. A lot of people say AI is electricity, right? And we need to learn exactly from that paradigm that there is a creation of electricity to consumption of it, and there is a whole distribution of there. At every stages, there are plenty of different guardrails, which are, well, whether it is circuit breakers, whether it is how you are really distributing the right voltage, right? So same in case of AI, we need to really have a guardrails at what data is fed into for AI to learn, to the models level of guardrails, to how you are consuming it, how you are really using it in a business application processes. And not only that, once you have actually seen the output, there's a human level of guardrails as well, that how you are really using your judgment to really rely on the output from the AI as well. There is a guardrail at that level too, right? So that those guardrails are not just only the configurations of a model, the guardrails has to be built at, the whole, throughout the ecosystem here.
I see. So one is the guardrails of like as you're saying, electricity. I have a fuse box.
Yeah.
Like if there's a short circuit, and a human would have got burnt or electrocuted, the trigger, the fuse triggers, right, and then we are safe.
Yeah.
But that's sort of preventing damage from happening.
Yeah.
But hallucination is also about, avoiding hallucination is about making it more accurate in the first place, rather than the guardrails.
Yeah.
So to make something not hallucinate, it's an alignment problem, right?
Indeed.
So for example, even humans, one side would say the other side is crazy. Like I don't know why the other side votes for this political party, or why they don't see basic facts. Like even today with the media, if you see, people are looking at the same news, but completely different point of views.
Correct.
Now each side could say that the other side is biased. We don't say hallucinate, but because we assign sort of a motive to humans as well, right? So in the absence of motive, we say it's hallucination. But with humans, there's motive. We just say like, oh, they are prejudiced against this, or they're biased against this. So with AI, are you seeing a trend where the AI models are getting better at getting aligned?
Yeah, there's certainly a trend actually, but it all depends on who is building those models also. So there is definitely, like what we can see from the work happening in Grok versus what is happening on OpenAI versus what's happening in Anthropic, right? So that's exactly why these variety of models are also needed, so that you can say, hey, this one is suitable for me in XYZ situation, and the other is suitable for me in ABC system. Because what is really fed into is really policies of those organizations, or those producers rather in this case. Some would like to say, you know what, I don't want any control, let's feed everything. That means in many cases you are feeding the bias also there. And some would say, no, you know what, I do want certain controls and guardrails of the data which I'm feeding there, in which case it is controlled. And now to your point about it could be controlled on a completely extreme side as well, or it could be, they could try to actually have a right balance also on it. So that's why in my view, having at this stage of adoption of AI, having all these different variety of this also gives us as a society an insight into what's possible, what kind of output I can see, where does that fit in, learn from there, put that feedback into the producer's hand and see what can be done. Yeah.
So talking about what's possible, let's go back in time a bit. So while you were at VMware, how big was the automation practice there that you were running, and how successful was AI?
Yeah. So we did a lot of projects and works across the organization, even fundamental processes like order to cash, procure to pay, record to report, HR cycles, IT SOX controls. So that way it was quite significant. I'm talking about multi-million worth of investment and also the value which has come out of it, right? But at the same time, the effort which was put into it was quite incremental. Like these success stories which I'm able to say now was really an amalgamation of effort of 4 to 5 years, right? So we started small in one area and then started growing in other areas as well with the success stories of the previous ones. So I think the best way to really put that out is even in those 4 or 5 years, AI has changed quite significantly, right? Not to the level since GPT came, because I'm talking about even most of it is actually before GPT time,
yeah.
right? So the work of NLP, work of conversational AI, or work related to any computer vision was very different because those were very specific models we were using there. So effort was very different. The infrastructure was different. The deployment cycle was very different. It's much easier now to even build any computer use or even NLP based systems using the existing AI infrastructure.
I think while something is becoming easier, other things are becoming harder, right?
Sure.
Basically, building is becoming easier, trusting is getting harder.
Correct.
So, like while the industry is making this shift, and you're talking to a bunch of your customers as well internationally, how are the AI pilots faring these days?
Yeah, I think it's not about technology. It's actually about how they are trying to use the technology and how it's all related to managing those AI systems essentially. Because what you're really trying to build a solution for a particular problem. Technology is there to help you solve that problem, but how you take that, convert that into solution, deploy that, problem actually starts from there. How you govern beyond that, how you monitor that. What I generally recommend to our customers is whether you're looking at strategy or governance or operation or scale of those solutions, there's one thing which is actually common across all this is the value. The value which you are trying to gain from there. The reason why you started even talking about bringing AI is because there was some value which you were looking for, right? Now those values could be, dollar amount, could be top line, could be bottom line, could be regulatory requirement, anything, right? Value can be defined that way. But your AI strategy has to be driven, which has to be value based. Your governance will determine based on what value you are really bringing it. If you are working on some high risk AI system, the value will be there because it's there, but then value determines for high risk, you have to have a much higher governance than a medium risk or minimal risk AI systems, right? So the investment which you are doing is much lesser in the minimal system, and you can actually have the value according to that as well. So that value scenario has to be there across operation and scale as well, and that's the kind of conversation we quite regularly have with our customers as well.
So then, when an AI pilot fails, like what would be a common reason that you have seen?
Estimation of value, or losing the focus somewhere in the cycle about the value, or many times even overestimating the value because of the magic of AI.
I see.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could say that so value estimation, is it going wrong also? So, for example, in the case of self-driving cars, right? There is a huge value if the car drives by itself and does a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
But still, adoption has been very painfully slow for society.
Yeah.
Because the first time an accident happens, all that value that you had accumulated sort of evaporates.
Yeah.
So, it's the negative impact of what you were not planning for.
Yeah.
And that is very hard, right?
Yeah.
So today, for people to understand how, in what ways can AI misbehave, because they are comparing it with what the world is being told, that this is like a human.
Right.
For humans, once we interview them, we sort of trust them and we don't get hallucinations, right? So how would you guide people who think that they have understood the value of deploying AI, but actually they don't understand how AI is going to misbehave? How would you guide them?
Yeah, I think this is where having the right KPIs, having the right success criteria is very important for any AI initiative, right? Because your risk tolerance would really drive the prioritization of which AI initiatives you are going to pick, right? Your value will drive which one you are doing and for how much investment you are going to make on this. But when it comes to the calculation of that, it's really the success criteria which you need to keep an eye on it, right? If I'm doing it for the regulation purposes, it's a very different story. If I'm doing it for top line, it's a very different story, and the kind of effort which I need to put on that as well. But can I take a chance of hallucination if it is regulation? Or can I take a chance of hallucination if it's a top line? Yeah, I can probably make, in some cases, a little risk for my top line, but I can't for regulation, right? Depending on the industry we are talking about, right? So these are really the things which would drive how they really use their judgment to make sure, and that's where the governance is important, because it's really where the responsibility lies on making those decisions about what should we do and what we should not do.
Got it. Cool. So Neeraj, I know that you had made some predictions for this year in terms of what's going to happen with AI. So for our viewers, we'll share the link to Neeraj's predictions for 2026, but I would like to go through them right now with you. Your first prediction was that AI adoption will be sort of bimodal in terms of speed.
Yeah.
Explain a little bit to us, like what do you mean by its speed of adoption would be in two different ways this year?
Yeah, it's actually something very interesting, and probably my unique background gave me that exposure coming from large organizations like Goldman Sachs and VMware, but also during my time at UiPath and now at Cognito is working with many mid-market companies as well. It was very obvious last 3 to 4 years that large enterprises in healthcare and BFSI space have done a lot of investment into AI space, not just because of hype. They were using AI for last 20 years anyway, right? In many ways, healthcare was using it. The fraud detection is not a new thing for finance, right? So they were using it, but now they put it even additional investment because they see the value of that.
Yeah.
These are the organizations, not only that they have budget, they also have a data, right? We can talk about the quality of the data and governance and all that. That's a different problem to address, but they do have data, right? They also have put together their AI policies. They have a governance on that as well, but they are still going slow on AI adoption is because their actions are very cautious, right? These are the industries we are talking about are a heavy regulated industry. So any small mistake from hallucination, for them, somewhat perfect is not enough. For them, it's, perfect is perfect, right? So that's why their adoption is much slower. On the other hand, on the mid-market or smaller organizations where most of them actually kind of missed the bandwagon of digital transformation. So they did actually digitization of their system,
True.
Excel and having some databases, but it wasn't a full digital transformation there, right? But now they're coming to the stage that if we do not adopt AI, it's a survival situation for them. But at the same time, being small, they are nimble, they can make quick decisions, they can actually move faster on this. That's why I see there are two steps, that those who are large are moving slower even though they have the right data, right investment, right focus on this. But here they have a huge gap. So for them, the adoption will be much faster and steep than the other ones as well.
I think, I mean, it could also be that the larger players have more money and, and therefore they can be slow.
Yes.
They can afford to be slow. Some may be just wrong in that, thinking, but they're like, I'm big, I can afford it, and I can wait to see what I need to do and change. But again, sometimes it kind of also backfires, and everybody talks about Google created a lot of the AI technology, could afford to be slower, but then soon, there is pressure that comes out from OpenAI and others, and then now you have to catch up, but the big companies think that they can catch up. The smaller guys, I mean, if they have an opportunity with AI now, where they can double their business.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
The big guys cannot double their business. So they have to basically maintain their business and not lose it because of mistakes. Small guys can take a risk and become bigger. And so what do you think? Like, okay, if I have asked you, so this was your 2026 prediction, that, okay, there'll be two kinds of motion. Smaller guys trying to move really fast to survive, bigger guys being cautious. But say 10 years from now, all these bigger guys compared to the cohort of smaller guys, what is your prediction now for the next 10 years? Will more of the big guys cease to exist, or will more of the small guys cease to exist?
I think we'll continue to see the same trend. It's just that there will be new mushrooms actually coming in place, right? And this is nothing new, right? If you look at the times of AT&T, right? There was a time when there was one AT&T which became 7 AT&Ts, and then in the end again became one AT&T, right? Bell Laboratories came from AT&T, Lucent came from AT&T, right? So that's the whole cycle, right? That big might actually become smaller because of that they need to move faster, and smallers are becoming bigger as well. But the whole business dynamics through merger and acquisitions and splits and all that will again, bring the same sort of environment there.
Got it. So let's see what happens in 2026. Let's move to your second prediction. So you had 5 predictions. Second prediction, you said that there will be a great reset in build versus buy. So tell us your prediction about what's going to happen there.
So again, coming from software development background myself, we have seen this, and you and I actually worked on something recently which I opened my eyes there as well, that the kind of project which we did in 3 weeks, which we were able to not only just build up, it wasn't a prototype, it was a fully deployed product, fully functional product. You did back end, I did front end, functional part. We were able to actually deploy that in 3 weeks. That same during my days of software development would have been 6 months, a team of 5 to 6 projects. Why we were able to accelerate this is because now through vibe coding, through all the AI capabilities, we can actually build that faster. That's exactly the scene all these large and mid-market companies are seeing. And that debate of build versus buy has become even much more prominent this year. Why? Because the companies, those who have been sitting on their legacy system, huge monolithic systems, configurable, but only configured the way they are configured, right? So they are forced to actually have their processes in the way which is supported by the system, as opposed to have the processes the way they really want it, right? So with now them having an ability to build, they can say, I can actually still build something custom, which I'm trying to do through the configuration, but I build it in my way, I have my full control, I even have access to my code, I can modify that anytime there as well. What really this leading to is, yes, a lot of large organizations are considering of doing the build themselves, but for obvious reasons, they'll end up actually having a hybrid mode in the beginning because they can't get rid of those monolithic system overnight, right? So they'll build something on top of that and then gradually move. But the smaller ones actually, on the other hand, would actually make faster.
So more build is going to happen.
More build is going to happen, but I'll also caveat that with something. Yes, it's easy. That doesn't mean it's actually something you should always do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That is something you need to really, look at whether we have to do it or not. So I see this year would be where we are going into one extreme of building more, learn from that, and then eventually markets itself will bring sort of a new delivery model of how we actually, as a society is going to build.
In fact, just today I was talking to a customer, and so the pendulum that you're saying, right? Buy, build, and buy, that's swinging. I'll give you a concrete example. It also matters like what are you building? So if you're building infrastructure, so like this particular scenario was, see, everybody today is building their agent platform, right? I'll have multiple agents talking to each other because you can quickly wipe code and build that. And then on top of that, you'll build your business logic and application. So this customer building it for a few months and then realizing, man, it's going to be effort to keep this infrastructure, the platform for managing agents up to date because AI keeps on changing. So while it works, doesn't matter. If you don't keep it up to date, it will miss out on the new models, the new features. RAG is almost dying today. I was like, all these things changes. So they said, look, you know what? We don't want to build the infra layer.
Correct.
Then I said, okay, what do you want to build? They said, no, I just want to build the business logic because that is something I cannot buy. That is totally custom to how I run my business. And that is actually how I differentiate my business. So it's the building, but at a higher layer. Right now, a lot of people are trying to build whatever they can.
Correct.
And a lot of that is because there are no good pre-built solutions for them to totally focus on the business logic. I mean, of course, we're working on delivering that to customers. So will SaaS die?
It's already dying, right? So we're seeing getting consolidated more and more into closer to where the businesses are, right? And do it in there. Again, this is the same, even in the infrastructure example, which is the same way of on-prem to cloud, back to on-prem to cloud, right? Private cloud, all that thing. This is exactly on the software layer which is happening, right? That you're bringing the software back to your house, right? Which was actually on the cloud for 2 decades or so, right?
I mean, software used to be, well, not used to be, even today it's hard. And anything hard you can sell as a service because you can amortize the cost of maintaining the software quality, right? That last part is still remaining to be seen, like can I wipe code a software that has quality, right? Now, AI is getting faster and better and better. So God knows, when we will reach that point, but the moment high quality software becomes commodity in the sense that anybody can build it in-house, then as a service is a question mark because when I provide a service, I am not customizing to what you want. I am generalizing across a wider set of customers, and it's your job to customize. Now, if the effort to customize something like a Salesforce or SAP is higher than me building out the whole thing, then that's when SaaS is done, right? But we are not there. This year is like,
This is the year we'll
figure out something?
Yes, we'll figure out something, But then again, I caveat here is that these models are also changing so rapidly, which we are using it for the software development purposes. And we all know building software was always easy. The most effort went into maintaining it. Right? And if these models are changing, the maintenance will become even much more complex.
So let's talk about your third prediction. You are saying that this year will be the rise of complex workflows. Tell us about that.
That's my favorite one, actually. I'm personally more passionate about this one. Because this is where what I was personally hoping to see for last few years as well. So in the era of RPA / hyper automation, intelligent automation, even before that, software automation, software development, we ended up actually doing only at a small task level, or maybe a small pieces of a much larger end-to-end processes. We couldn't actually, we didn't even have a technology which could actually really do that sort of an end-to-end. I'm talking about processes which are not just only complex in nature, but they are cross-functional, they go cross departments, so different teams. They are something which process is triggered at one point, but it ends actually after multiple days.
Sure.
Right? Because there are multiple action which needs to be done.
I mean, one of our customers, the process was quarters.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a consumer product customer, and they get a complaint.
Yeah.
Now they have to resolve the complaint with manufacturing in the process.
Right.
So complaint to figuring out what the root cause is, to prototyping, material costing, and all of that, and it's a 9-month process.
It is.
So are you saying that
that's the kind of process I'm talking about, that we'll start seeing actually that, there are some success stories coming out of it. Like I'm seeing even cases where, and this is also where the AI coming, like multi-model models itself, right? We're able to even say, think of manufacturing, right?
Okay.
That I can say as a technician on a manufacturing plant, if there is a defect on my equipment or with my machine, either I take a video or a photo of that, I verbally say what's wrong on it. That actually triggers from audio to video to images a whole process of repair and maintenance. It goes in, orders the parts, right? Mark that in the inventory. The finances actually goes and updated that as well, which typically takes few days over for multiple departments to really act on that one request of maintenance.
True.
Right? But this, because of how the end-to-end can be done, and also with the multimodality, it's actually now possible. So I'm really excited about seeing some success stories coming out there.
Complex workflows.
Yes.
I think one of the other things about why complex was hard is like it's a matter of probability, right? It's when the thing breaks, when the workflow breaks, what happens? It's the same thing we talked about self-driving car when it crashes, right? What's the penalty of getting something broken in the middle, right? So it's normally high if you look at the traditional automation technologies, because you need to pull in a developer who will first look at, in a complex workflow, where is the problem? And then now you have to figure out, do I resume from that spot? Because I was in the middle of a 100-step journey. Humans are the best exception handling systems in the world.
They can start from any point onwards.
And then, they can be taught something midway. Like you are on the factory floor, you were doing this, hey boss, this is not working. Then the superintendent comes in and says, oh, you know what, in this case, do that. Human doesn't say, okay, let me start all over again.
Yes.
It's like, so that kind of stuff is potentially possible with AI.
Yes.
But we need trust. So the superintendent has to approve, right? So that's the human, not in the loop, but in control.
Yes.
Because in the loop means like human is always needed, then where is the ROI?
Right.
But in control means machine is working fine. Only when the machine needs help, then human comes in and does something different. Now the machine can improve over time, based on what was the resolution, the playbook for the resolution. Let's see how complex we get, right? I mean, the most complex thing would be run my business, right? Obviously, we're starting off with very simple things, and over time we'll see where we land and where is human in control. Cool. Let's talk about your fourth prediction. You're saying these humans who are going to be in control will embrace AI teammates. Okay, tell me more. Like, do you already have AI teammates today, or no? You're going to get them?
No, I do have.
Oh, you do? Okay.
We rely on AI a lot. Sometimes we even laugh at, like, how much we leverage AI, at work. But what I really meant on this, and this is actually something also, the previous one, I'm excited about it. This is a little personal also, because this is the area where I failed miserably in my previous role, that how you are able to have a broader adoption of intelligent automation across the organization. And it wasn't an easy thing because it was so difficult to actually adopt it, but also you need the right mindset and right people to actually do it back then. What is changing with AI is, so one thing has to happen at the leadership level, that they need to really not work on managing the fear. They need to really work on more of how you empower your people to bring into this whole conversation of AI in the organization, educate them, and enable them in a way that they are actually using AI on a day-to-day basis. Because the first thing, and this is I've heard time and again, when people start using it, the first impression they get it, wait a second, I was worried about me losing job because of AI. This is dumb enough that can't actually do a very small portion of my work, but what it does, it's so good that I can rely on it to actually become more efficient and accelerate my work, right? So I should not be worried about AI taking my job. Rather, I should be looking at this more from an angle of how do I adopt AI for efficiencies, for accelerating my work, right? So I become actually even more productive in that sense.
Yeah.
This is where I'm actually personally hoping that the shift will actually.
But what I hear from some people is like, yeah, it will make me efficient and make everybody else efficient.
Yeah.
But if the amount of business that I can do is anyway limited, if the top line is not going to grow or number of customers doesn't grow, then some of us are going to lose our jobs.
Isn't this the same argument we had for many times in last 2 centuries? GDP is continuously growing, right? Unemployment is at the same stage level. Of course, it fluctuates over the period, but those are economic cycles as well, right? So this is not a new, argument against any innovation. When electricity came, when machines came, this was the same argument which was, put out not to adopt it, right? As the same story with AI as well.
I think adoption will happen, but I think some movement will happen, right? So for example, when tractors came in, people moved from the farms to the city and they got different jobs. They trained themselves with what we call white collar jobs. But now if AI comes and takes the white collar jobs, then okay, where will those people go? What will they do? And people say that, you got to do things that are uniquely human. That is true, except there is no degree for that and there is no certification for that. There is no course for being human. So while that is great news, there's also bad news. Then how do you compete? How can I be more human than the other person, right? Everybody is human. So as a society, we have to figure out what is it that people will do if AI is accelerating everybody. Best outcome is we accelerate everything.
It's education.
It's like GDP grows, everything grows. We are in couple of decades spacefaring species and we have so much work to do, there's no end to it. That's the best case. Maybe best, I don't know. The other case could be, some people say universal basic income, few people are working, other people are just living life being social animals.
Those are just
right?
fear.
So I mean some people like that. I mean, right? They'll go for that. Just it's like everybody has their genie and like, hey, rub the lamp and I want this and I get it. Everybody's super happy. But we all know humans like to compete with each other, be better than our neighbors, so we're going to work hard. Right? So, okay, so your prediction is more and more people are going to embrace an AI teammate of some sort.
And directly. So far it has been quite indirect adoption. Some people don't even know they are using it, but now they'll actually make more deliberate effort of adopting and using it.
Got it. And what's your final prediction?
So based on all what we talked about, right? I'm also more governance, policy, strategy kind of mindset person. So that's why I mentioned about the values on all it. So with all this what we talked about, I also see organizations spending a lot of effort on putting now proper AI strategies, right? Defining it in a clear way. And I'm not talking business strategy. Business strategies are there. AI is a technology which has to actually enable and make sure that business strategy is successful. So AI strategy has to align with the business strategy, not other way around. But now this year I'm expecting, particularly for large organizations, many of them already started, to have a very clear AI strategy of which will say, this is how we are going to have a prioritization of our AI initiatives. We are going to have much more portfolio sort of view, not just only one project here, other project there. So we can clearly say, these are our quick wins, this is our strategic transformational project, these are all in between. So more of that view. That is what is going to drive their whole internal discussion of what we just talked about, build versus buy, and how they are going to really build, even from models to infrastructures to software, everything on that side. And finally, that is what will drive their even the vision of their maturity, right? That strategy would say, this is the maturity level I need this year, right? And then next year I'm going to achieve that. Following year I'm going to achieve that.
And will there be a golden strategy, or no? Everybody has to pick their own strategy.
There are frameworks which are going to come out. So we're using that. What people will build their own strategies there.
And one framework I'm personally working on is not necessarily the AI strategy framework, but a framework for figuring out what is the harm that is possible in a given deployment of AI. Right? The generality of AI or the intelligence level of AI, the power you give it, the agency you give it, all these factors tell you how much risk there is. And therefore, how much governance you need.
Sure.
Like, for example, when people go into airplanes, you go through whole sorts of checks, TSA. If I enter a bus, I don't, right? Enter my own car, a seat belt is mandated, but other than that, it's fine, right? So it's all about figuring out what's the envelope for harm, the risk. And then the question is, what tools do you bring in to govern that and control it?
Correct.
Like nuclear power, classic example, immense power. So it took a long time from the bomb to actually a power plant, because that's how do you control this power. And even till date, even though you have the controls, people are still, you don't want one nuclear power plant in your backyard, right? So depending on what the company needs to achieve, everybody doesn't need a nuclear powered AI thing, right? So based on that, the strategy would be use this form of AI, and this governance makes it safe, these tools make it safe. And then, as you said earlier, right, the kind of company, how fast they want to go and how much risk they want to take also governs, what kind of strategy they have.
Correct.
Is it a let's double our top line, or is it let's increase our margins, right? Or is it that we need to reduce people, right? And the third one is what people are really worried about. But I think there will be different strategies. It remains to be seen what will happen. So this year you're saying, will there be some standards? Like, for example, I know in your past you've looked into standards that come from like HIPAA, SOX, SOC 2, all of that. Will there be standards that come across?
There are already actually, like you were talking about risk, right? So from a risk framework point of view, even the European Union AI Act had a very clear definition of, what is minimal risk, what is high risk, what is, not allowed as well. I forget what term they used, right? So those are really the guidelines, right? That's what really is going to drive what level of governance they need. Right? That is why, and those governance will come from the strategy, right? Like if they're putting that kind of investment, right, they need to have a right level of governance. But governance, having a high risk level of governance for a minimal risk is waste of money. But not having a governance at all for high risk is a serious risk.
I think this is where the tensions are playing out right now, right? Where the some governments want to quote unquote help businesses by mandating certain level of governance. Whereas like in the United States, you see the government is saying, no, we don't want to tell you, you figure out your own strategy. But it remains to be seen, like where success will be there, like because the first failure might also discourage others. Awesome. So these are your predictions. Neeraj, thank you for taking your time. Any last comments for our viewers?
No, I think, this is great conversation. What I would like to close this by is that if you have not used AI directly in some form, I know for sure that you are actually using it some form indirectly. This is the time to actually go deeper, and I don't mean like just using ChatGPT or any of these models. Build something, integrate that into your workflows, personal, work-wise, whichever way. That's the way to really get into it. And this is the year to really, really be there.
2026.
Yes.
Thank you, Neeraj. Thank you for your time. For the viewers, thank you for taking the time. Please subscribe, share, and stay tuned for the next episode of The Logic of AI Magic.